Beautiful morning to you once again, and this is Daybreak Africa if you just tuned in. Today we'll be talking about Constitution, Nigerian Constitution, and particularly the 8th bill that has been passed, or should I say assented by the President. And to discuss this topic with us is a barrister in the House, Barrister Sarafadeen Okewoye. Glad to have you.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Today. Well, having known that President Muhammad Buhari signed into law, I think this happened on Monday and sometime last week actually. So what do you actually have to say about this?
Well, President Muhammad Buhari was just exercising one of the constitutional rights the Nigerian Constitution bestowed on him as a Nigerian president, that when a bill or bills is or are passed by National Assembly, the law is that the president must assent to all the bills. That's when it becomes law. And the decision about the president refuses to assent to the bill when the National Assembly has the right to veto such assent. Well, in this circumstance, the 8 bills were passed by the National Assembly, and same was transmitted to the president for his assent. And I think about 4 days ago, to the president issued a statement confirming that the president had assented to 8 bills. So by that assent, the bills are now laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Before we go into details as to the 8th bill assented,
yes,
I want to talk about Nigerian Constitution generally. Yes. It is believed by some citizens that it is highly faulted. They believe it is faulted. They believe it is better it's being replaced and even amended. What do you say of that?
Well, my opinion, of course, is this. If we recollect that on the 5th day of May 1999, that is the day happens to be my birthday.
Wow.
Okay.
Was the day, yes, the then Nigerian military head of state, General Salami Abubakar, actually assented to a decree that was called Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a promulgation decree number 24, and in which a constitution was promulgated for Nigeria. But that constitution would be taking effect by May 29, 1999. If you recollect, that year was when we were trying to transit from military regime to military regime. So we had done a lot of elections at that period, and the military was ruling by decree. And normally, constitutionally, the democratically elected government cannot rule with the military decrees, and that was why General Salami Abubakar retired, now assigning to law a decree, which I call Decree 24 now, which actually, brought into bear Nigerian Constitution, but it was not given effect because of the military administration. And May 29, 1999 was when civilian administration took over, and that was the date that Constitution came into force. And coming to your question now, with that a little history I just gave now, it's clear that Constitution was actually made by the military government, not by civil administration. And what is more is that in the preamble of the Constitution, the first thing, the opening sentence there is "we the people." That's the first faulty foundation that was laid. When I say "we the people," the question now is where were the people that we were referred to as "we the people"? We the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, saying all of us. And there was no such gathering, there was no such conference, there was no such seminar, whatever we can call it, that actually brought all of us together, that we have input. Yes, it might not be possible for everybody to have input, but at the representative level, and thereafter now, if we have people that are brought together, because I could recollect that we have a constituent assembly, we have our different assemblies then, but ordinarily constitutions, there must be a referendum in which you would take what they might have decided back to the people for us to say yes or no. That platform was not provided. So we believe that it was a fraud. If I say "we the people," who are the people? Where did we sit down, or what was done to actually carry us along? So what we're saying, of course, is that the introductory aspect of that constitution, which is the preamble, is actually lie against itself. That is why people are saying whether constitution actually requires total to be repealed outrightly. But my take is this: are we going to pull down the house? So we should be thinking of maybe it's a gradual process. That's why I would not want to totally submit to the fact that that constitution should be outrightly, because it's going to be it's going to take our time, and we should equally understand that our democratic process has not actually taken a firm root. Take, for instance, now the electoral process. We are still battling with that. That for now is our vote actually counting. So we must consider. So until we get to that level, that our democracy is strong, the institutions are strong, that could withstand any fallout of that, then that's why I want to recommend that we can as well think of how to repeal that constitution, because when the military gave us, they gave us in a hurry, and we should not expect a perfect document for that matter.
If I may go back some years back when Jonathan was still president,
yes,
there was a confab that was held,
yes,
whereby many people came together and gave their ideas and so many things.
yes.
Why did people, or why did the government not go back? Because this is a particular question that many people ask today.
Yes.
Why did they not go back to that confab and, you know, screen it, check it, and see what they can actually pull out of there to add to ours to make it much more better?
That was what I said. Until we have a strong institution, until we have a very strong democratic process, it might be difficult for us to get to that level now. Now, going back to your question, shortly after that, there was an election. New government, new party took over.
Yes.
And that party did not participate in that national conference. They refused to participate. And that same party now won the election in 2015. And they become, they now became the government that will actually carry on government activities from where the regime of Dr. Ebele Jonathan stopped. And because they never participated, they said they will not go into document that they were never party to. That's why I said, if you have a very strong institution, government is continuum. Either you are there or not, once you are taken over from a government, you must continue from that where that government stopped. And in Nigeria, we are having that problem. Once I am not part of a process and I have opportunity of implementing or executing certain things, I will tell you, once I was not part, I wouldn't be, you should count me out of that process. We should not be in governance. Government should be seen as a process, and it should be a continuous exercise. Now, not minding who is there, is because when you are having a program or a plan or a project, it has to be in three phases. One, short term. Two, medium term. Then third, long term. That's how to build a strong and viral institution. But if we are only looking at short term, which is 4 years or 8 years of your administration, we might not actually get it right for a very long time. That's why I said initially that until we have a strong institution, that not minding who is in charge, the institution is constant. I'll take you to the United States of America. When they had the election that brought in Joe Biden, you know, their former president, Donald Trump, did not want to accept their results. But the institution resists. Left to President Donald Trump, he did not want to leave White House. He actually wanted to frustrate the process, which was unprecedented in American history. But because the institutions are strong, they told him, Mr. President, no, you cannot use us against the states. And that's why the security said, Mr. President, no, we are trained to only obey lawful order. Anything contrary to the Electoral Act, count us out. That's a strong institution. And when he saw clearly that the narrative was clear, that institutions in this country will not encourage this grandstanding, this illegality, he had to eat humble pie. And the institution, the American state, remains. Until we get to that level in Nigeria, it might be difficult for us to say we want to take far-reaching decisions on certain things. If we do, it will further complicate or aggravate or compound our problem. Because Nigeria is still a fragile nation. Every little thing now will just scatter the whole process. So that's why I want to say, yes, the constitution is faulty, no doubt. There are a lot of flaws, a lot of problems, but we must not throw away the baby with the bathing water. We must separate. With time, we'll get there.
From what you've said, you said the party was not, you know, involved in the confab at the time.
Yes.
So which means, and when they were coming, they were all talking about restructuring and the rest of it. And it happens to be that I feel there should be a way you would want to restructure a country, but you would have to find every strategy and every means possible, which could have involved getting the confab and going through it and all of that. But the way it is, could we say the party is a problem in Nigeria?
The party cannot be a problem, because you cannot run a democratic process with your political parties. It's a worldwide thing. And even in developed democracy, political parties are central key to the democratic process.
What she meant by party is probably the ideology. It's more like you said, nobody
yes.
wants to have continuity. Whatever I'm not a part of, I don't
need it.
No
ideology, yes. Continuity we are talking about has to do with the institution.
Can you lay more emphasis on this democratic institution?
You see, when I say institution, you see, take for instance now, ministries. Ministries are actually the vehicle the government at whatever levels are using in running the government. So which means the president, the vice president, the governor, the deputy governor are only coordinating the activity of various MDAs, ministry, department, and agencies. MDAs are the one running government. Ministry are the one running government. Now, will a permanent secretary be able to stand up against his commissioner or minister and say, Mr. Minister, Mr. Commissioner, this cannot work? I'm afraid not in Nigeria of today, because the next one will be sacked. And nobody will blink an eye. If you are sacked, you are gone. It's an opportunity for me to take over from where you stopped. Me too, I want to step in. But if you have a system that says no, as a commissioner supervising a ministry, as a governor, you cannot sack. If you want to sack, there are laid down procedures for disciplinary measures and to be followed to the letter. And if I approach court, court say no, return him, replace him. There's no such peers that will be able to challenge the commissioner, because what they are doing, the ministry are the one doing all these things. Then let's take the police for instance now. The police are supposed to be independent, but as we speak, they are unstable. They are supposed to be unstable to the governor of a state. The governor of a state is the chief security officer. But I ask you, go and cross-check your facts. The governors are not in control of the Nigerian police. The governor cannot control commissioner of police, and commissioner of police will listen to him or her. He will tell you, I will be ordered from Abuja. It's only IGP that can give CP instruction that will comply without questioning. But if governor says so, he will agree in principle, say, let me take order from above. And IGP will take instruction from the president. Now in that situation now, how do you now want a state governor to be in control of his state as far as security is concerned? That's why I say the institution is not. Let's look at INEC for instance. The process of appointing members, the commissioners in INEC, that's issue. Currently, people are questioning some nominees of Mr. President to the board of the commission of INEC. All these things are the institutions that are required to strengthen our democracy. But for now, we don't have that strong institution. INEC, you cannot tell me that INEC is totally independent.
So who is responsible for structuring this institution?
The system. The system grows with time. Not until we realize that yes, as PS, I am the chief accounting officer of this ministry. Commissioner comes, commissioner goes. Minister comes, minister goes. In fact, government comes, government goes. But the ministry remains, because they are public servants, they are civil servants.
What I actually mean is there should be a particular body in charge of this to check exactly, to put people in check, or put everything in check to make sure everything is followed rightly.
They are there. All the structure, they are there.
But
yeah, that's the but is that will I, as a PS, be able to stand and damn the consequence? I would think of where my butter has been bred, and I'll be careful. Because if it happens, you are on your own. So that's what I'm saying. Until we are able to start the process of saying yes, we want to build all these things, they are more of our approach, our determination. I talk about America now. The security aides, the immediate security aides of Mr. President, the former president of America, told him, Mr. President, we will not obey unlawful order. We don't know their names. But it was revealed later that we are sorry, sir. Yes, sir. They will say, yes, sir. Sorry, sir. That order is unlawful, sir. It's unknown to law, sir. It's against the law of this country, sir. And my loyalty to the country, I will not. I tell you, how many immediate security aides of our leaders will tell their organs, oh God, sorry, I won't take this. They won't. But they know if they do, they will be moved out of the place and they might not get juicy posting in future. So what I'm actually saying is it's going to be a little longer before we get to that. It has to do with you and I. Because we're talking about constitution that's fault. Constitution cannot drive itself. We have to give effect to the provision of the constitution. You talk about who are the ones that are coordinating. Yes, we have them. We have the institutions. Not until you challenge the institution. If you don't challenge the institution, we'll be getting the same result. As I said, with time, you'll be able to be bold enough and challenge certain things and confront certain things. If you are able to do that, it will be difficult. For instance, now, INEC members, commissioners, president can request that a person should be removed through National Assembly. And don't forget, a party in power always has the majority members of the National Assembly. I just say caucus of the parliamentary caucus of their party, and they will vote. And Constitution says vote 2/3, let him go, let her go. They just write petition against, and that will be the end. That's what I'm saying. Until we are able to have that people of proven integrity who could stand up to the powers that be and say no, it's not going to work. But it take a little longer time.
So have we not gotten to that stage already?
It's a gradual thing. We are not yet there.
Do you think we still have time? Or do we in Nigeria is going?
We have time. It's not that Nigerians are in a hurry. We normally refer to America, to Britain, to France.
The thing is, many Nigerians see so many things going wrong in the country.
Yes.
Take, for instance, insecurity. Everything is just getting on the high side. The economy is bad and everything as such. And so these are some of the reasons why Nigerians are scared, and even most of them have even lost hope. If you notice, many people just want to get out of the country, and these are the reasons that we're talking about.
You talk about insecurity now. Nigeria should tell me how many military officers that have been sanctioned for that infraction. Because it's clear that money was allocated before now, and there is no commensurate results for that money. We even had when millions of dollars were used for election. Nothing has been done. That's why we are talking about institution, strong one. Not until we are able to have a very strong, I keep on saying institution, because we all know what is right. Okay. But we refuse to do what is right. Let me give you an instance. Until 2022 January, nobody was talking about obedience. I'm going now to 2023 election now. Yes. We were only talking about APC, PDP. Well, people, or should I go back to NSAS protest now, which was unprecedented. So thereafter, people are now becoming conscious of certain things. People are now standing up to challenge certain things. I love that courage. You can sustain that courage to help Nigeria. Now, people are now moving towards obedient movements. People are now taking upon themselves, well, we want once and for all, want our vote to count. And if you look at the rate at which people register as voters, you marvel. And people are becoming conscious of their duties, responsibilities, not only to themselves, but to the nation as a whole. As I said, we are going to get there. When? How? Nobody might be able to say it, because like this obedient movement now, we might not for now predict what is likely to be the result. We might not, and these people are moving, people are doing things by themselves, people are just agitating, they want to collect certain things. If it works, time will tell. If it doesn't work, but then personally I'm impressed, I'm challenged that people could just come out of the blues and not becoming conscious of their political interests, as well as of what they stand to lose if they don't show interest in certain things. That's the kind of thing I'm referring to. That if you're able to get it right in a democratic process, in our election particularly, I tell you, that will sit up. And I want to use Ekiti and Osun election as reference points. People actually voted according to their conscience, and people were happy. Whatever is their result after 4 years, we'll sit down again and look at it. You have made right choice. No, the choice was wrong. And they'll go back to the poll. So if you continue in that line and we are able to re-elect people of our choice, either good or bad, is immaterial. Okay. We want him, he's there. He's doing well, he's not doing well, it's none of our business. When it's another 4 years, we'll determine, because it's a periodical election. If you can sustain this period, I tell you, Nigeria will get there as soon as possible. Because you know that if you are my governor, you are my chairman, you are my president, you are answerable to me. Me and me alone. And once I'm not pleased, you know, after 4 years, I will change you. Then if you are there, you know what you are doing. Then for me now as your PS, I will to Ogar. No. You know, if you shout out, don't leave him. He's coming back to ask for a vote. So everybody will sit up because you know that you don't have any magic that you use to perpetuate yourself in office. But for now, people think they don't need people. They don't need public. They don't need Nigerians. That's the thinking. That if you just bring money, by their conscience, and they will have a way. We'll go. Things are changing now. That is a prayer. I talk about strong institution. That means our electoral process is being strengthened now. People are becoming conscious, and the fight, the struggle is by themselves. Nobody is taking anybody. That's what I mean by it's thing that will strengthen itself. Like INEC, for instance, now, if the situation is strengthened, that's what they did in Osho. Everything, the newly amended Electoral Act actually gives certain things. So everything was being transmitted live. So rigging or what have you was due to the BRS minimum. So we can monitor what was going on in the comfort of my room. And it was clear. People were given money. Money exchanged hands. Or people voted according to their conscience. That's where we are going. That's what I'm saying. If you have strong, institution, I tell you, you and I can go to sleep. You believe that, oh, that PS, it will do just things. It will be that commissioner for police, maybe INEC commissioner, it will do just things. And they will go home in peace. Until we get to that level, it might be difficult for us talking about total over all of our constitution. Because if you do, I'm afraid things might not be the same again. Because some people will capitalize on that to perpetrate certain things which might not help us.
So well, before we go on, Ezekiel, sorry, let's go for a very short break. We'll get back. We'll be going on a short break right now. When we get back, we'll continue with the discuss. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. It's still Daybreak Africa if you're just joining us, and we have been discussing about national issues, Nigeria Constitution in particular, as Buhari signed in its 8 bills into law, and we have with us a legal practitioner in the house. Thank you for joining us once again.
It's my pleasure.
Ezekiel, before the break, you had a question.
I had a question. Now I'm talking about the assented bills. 8 at a time. It's more like the first of its kind. Sending 8 bills at a time, or sending out 8 bills at a time. Why the sense of urgency? And adding to that, is that really the most pressing issue we have?
I don't know what you mean by pressing issue. I don't know the urgency.
We have insecurity. We have
ASU. Yes.
But what we see, it's more like breed and livestock, bee exploitation, and I think aviation. We have aviation around there. So
all the issues you just mentioned now, they are being attended to. The problem with government is, of course, that they have a lot of things they are attending to, and they must ensure that they attend to everything. Now, the issue of 8 bills that were assented to by Mr. President, to me, it might be the first time that we are having such volume at the time. It might be, but my own, of course, is that it's good for us, and it's part of what I said by strengthening our institutions. Okay. One is cancelling practitioners act now. It's become act now. I think these are professionals that have not been accorded their rightful place in the scheme of things. Okay. And I think they are now being classified as professionals now. We lose our regulations guiding their activities and so on. You know, because guidance and counseling should not be played down in our national life. But they are needed more so when we are having serious economic challenge and the pressures are just 1 for 1 naira everywhere, because once you don't have money, your kids are in school and so on, definitely you'll be depressed. So if the student is not actually recognized as a professional body, you actually have difficulty in having them setting up an outfit for such. You know, you normally find them in hospitals, in schools. I don't think you can have body that say we are guidance and counseling office outside. I don't think so, because there's no regulatory body that will tell them where and what to be done. So now that act, that's the bill that was attempted to now give them certain latitude, such as having a regulatory body now just like medical doctors, they have, lawyers have, teachers have, they now have now that will be regulating the activities, that will be dishing out rules and regulations, that will be telling them what to be done and where to operate. And I think this is widening the scope of area in which we have been lacking over there. So to me, I think what Mr. President did in that light was okay. And don't forget that Mr. President cannot on his own just say, I want to assent to bills. The bills was presented by the National Assembly. He only work on what was presented to him. And you know, our National Assembly at times, before they pass bills that will be transmitted to the President, always take time. It takes time, you know, there are a lot of first reading, second reading, third reading, committee stage, and so on. So, later they will now take it to print, press, and bring it back. So, it's a very tedious process. And you see, when you are having a bill that you want to become an act, it's important for you to do it painstakingly, because once it is promulgated to be on for as long as 100, 200 years, except you repeal, except you amend. So, it's important for us to take time when you are doing that. So, if you are not having as much as expected, I don't think that should be seen as a minus. It's not. And if you're having as much as 8 attempts in a day, that should not be seen as a surplus. And what we should look at is, do we need those laws? And as I just told you about counseling now, you know, this is something that is relegated to the background. And I tell you, counselors are very, very necessary. Very, very. That's where churches, mosques are coming. You know, they will counsel. When you have issue, they will counsel you. And then lawyers, you know, you come to lawyers, where we are called counsel. You will be counsel. So that, and we always tell ourselves, if you are coming to a lawyer's chambers and you are not happy, you are crying, by the time you are leaving, you must smile. So that's the essence of counseling. And depression, you know, is just setting. If you look at it now, a man of 50, 55 is already having stroke, high blood pressure. You know, it's rampant now. Yes. So that is why I said, to me, we must look at the bills that were sent to. Are they needed? And that one there is, I think, maritime bill was equally. So all these things are needed for to grow our economy. I mean, because we say, if a sand nation will have sand people. Sand people will make sand nation. So which means the maritime law, you know, those things. So to me, that's why we're having issue with ASU, and they are battling with that. We're having issue with insecurity. That shouldn't say we should now close down government activities. Whatever they are supposed to do, they will do. You get what I'm saying now? So that's what I'm saying. To me, yes, we have challenges, but that notwithstanding, other things that are supposed to be done should be done. And what has been done now, there are areas, of counseling aspect now, that we never pay attention to, and have been suffering in silence. And you have a lot of counselors that, in fact, they are finding it difficult to even counsel themselves. But there's no platform, except in school. And in most schools as well, we don't have counselors in almost all the schools. And I tell you now, our students, our pupils need counselors more than before. The kind of decadence, the kind of waywardness, the kind of activity our children are involved in now is alarming. It's alarming. At the rate at which things are going, I tell you, I'm afraid if you have Nigeria tomorrow. I'm afraid, because when you have a girl that is in say SS3 has been deflowered and has terminated pregnancy for more than 2-3 times, SS3. When you have a boy who is in SS2, he knows India hair, he knows Caesar, and they have even been romancing with it. You see the thing, they know cooking, they know everything. So you can imagine, because as a lawyer we have been coming across, you just marvel. Let's say a boy of JSS1, JSS2, they know what you do not know. They tell you different names of drugs, hard drugs. So that's why I'm saying counselors are necessary. If counselors are in schools, all schools, not mind the population, they should be able to see when a child is becoming, so you should be able to, psychologically, something's wrong with this boy. Then you go into his background, maybe he's having issue with the family. Maybe. So that's what I'm saying. What the president has done, if it's properly implemented, maybe they are seeing that. That drug abuse is on the high side.
Yes.
Maybe they are seeing that. The immoral acts is on the high side. If you go out 10, 11 p.m., the rate at which a child, a girl below the age of 16 are hawking their body, you'll be surprised. Is it Nigeria? Am I in Nigeria? This is not Nigeria of our dream. You don't ask yourself, are these people the leaders of tomorrow? So that's my whole thinking. If president is now saying to that, cancelling, I think maybe they had seen what we had seen. Maybe they actually are afraid of this drug abuse. Because I do tramadol is, you marvel. So me, I think we should look at those things and look beyond the immediate. Look at the future. Look at the future. So that's just my take.
Just like you said, implementing it, if it will be possible, it's not just enough to just, pass the bill and accept to it, but how possible and how is the implementing process going to be? How successful will it be?
Well, it depends on us. I keep on saying us. Now look at the cancelling practitioners bill now act. They say cancelling practitioners. It's not for government to implement for you. The government are giving you legal instruments. Their own is to constitute the regulatory body. But before that, if they have a body, then they should start the process of gingering government to fast track that process. Because it's for them. Let's talk about Nigerian Bar Association, for instance, now. It's for lawyers. It's left for us to ensure that we do what we are supposed to do, to give that law legal teeth. It's left for them. Send representative to whoever that is in charge. Let them do what is supposed to be done. If it's Minister of Education, send to them. Tell them. Let them. That should be a forum for you to discuss the modalities. So what I'm saying, of course, is Nigeria should put our government on its toes to do what we think will help our community, our society, our country. So we shouldn't wait for governments. That's why I like America will say, don't think of what your country will do for you. Think of what you do for your country. They should take it up. Okay, yes, the law has been promulgated. We now have a law that regulates our activity. That means we can now come out and say, we are the one doing this. Then the government must set up that regulatory body that will first register, that will be meant for registration. That will first register and other things that will be done as provided for in that constitution. That act. Once that is done, then they will start the process. Government will not run it for them. Government will not do it for them. But government has given them legal authority, legal power to do certain things, to go outside of their cocoon and do something that will be beneficial to the community. That's the essence. They were saying that they will have offices in all the states of the federation, in the local governments, and they will have members, they will have meetings. They will know themselves. They will have certificates. They will have offices that they can easily be referred. Oh, go and meet so person at so place. He or she will attend to you. Then we will know them. For instance, now we don't know them, but we know them because they will have numbers. They will have something to show that this is a certified counselor that is licensed to do this. Then we can refer people to them. We can. Then with time, they will equally have an institution for themselves that will be dealing with guidance and counsel of people. So I think our people should take upon themselves to ensure that when a law is passed, they ginger government to do the needful for it to take effect as soon as possible. It depends. It's in our hands.
Wonderful. Well, my next question goes to the sector of aviation. Actually, okay. Yes, they passed a bill about them as well, but they have also been undergoing some crisis lately concerning their fuel crisis. So I don't know if that has been taken care of already, and how possible would this bill be successful on implementation in their own
the bill that was, the act was actually meant for the operators and operation in the aviation industry.
They talked about the security.
Exactly. So it's beyond the issue of fuel or aviation, whatever. It's beyond that. It's more than that. But because the issue of fuel is an international problem. It's an international problem. Yes, Nigeria is battling with its oil and gas industry because we are not having a good and running refineries. We don't have. But that notwithstanding, before now, we are not having these challenges. It just started a few months ago that became this serious. The fuel issue had always been a recurring decimal in our national economic politics. Has been a recurring decimal. There's virtually no time you can actually claim that we enjoyed relative good price of energy. That's talking about fuel. So, but of recent, it's becoming outrageous. And I think the war in Russia and Ukraine should actually be ascribed to that issue. It's affecting it, and things are just skyrocketing. And again, the dollar rates, exchange rate is equally affecting it. And exchange rates is equally caused by Ukraine, Russia war. That's just the truth. So, to my mind, I think all this problem will go with time. To go with time. I'm not actually saying that the government is doing well in the area of our management of our economy. I'm not saying that the government is not actually doing well in the way it has been managing our economy. That's just a bitter truth. They are behaving as if they don't have the grasp of our economic challenges. That's the way I look at it, and which is unfortunate. But then I think the problem of this fuel aviation is becoming alarming because of the war in Ukraine and Russia, because of the rate of, the change rate of dollars, because we don't have it here. So which means it has to be imported, and automatically they are going to buy at the rate, the current dollar rate, and which they would equally want to charge the fare on their passengers. So that's the way I see it. And I think with time we are going to overcome that. It's also affecting aviation industry, no doubt about that. But we are going to, if our economy is good, if our economy is okay, I mean, this is a very, very laudable business. I have a friend, a cancel, he left Ondo on Wednesday for Abuja. I called him an hour later, he said he was already in Abuja. I said, wow. It was just, it's good for a businessman. He went there, he had a meeting morning of Thursday, that's it. He had a meeting morning of Thursday, and by afternoon, by 3-4, he's already back in his chambers and he was attending to his clients. You see, because if you look at this, it's to help us to grow our economy. Instead of being on the road for 6-8 hours, he spent about 1 hour, he landed in Abuja, he finished his meeting around 12, he boarded the plane by 1, by 3 he's already in his office attending to his office work. So all these things will help us. So what I'm saying, of course, is that, well, with time, we are going to overcome the challenges we are having. We are going to overcome it. People should just exercise patience. What's happening internationally is what's affecting Nigeria as well.
Totally, because I noticed lately we tried to ascribe all major problems to the Ukraine-Russian war. Is it totally the Ukraine-Russian war, or do we have our own faults here and there?
I just said it. I said our economy is actually not doing well. I said it, and I said that's a problem we are actually banned. I said government has no apology. I mean, as in no excuse for not doing well. Okay. And I clearly now said what actually aggravated it is the current Russian-Ukraine war, as well as the rate of dollars. The exchange rate at a point was just 760 naira per dollar. If you now convert this to naira and you want to charge that rate in Nigeria, you see people will actually shout, because 76,000 naira, I'm 76 naira for $1 now, and I want to charge that in, you cry. Maybe formerly it was 15,000 naira per flight from Akure to Abuja. Now definitely it will go to as much as 50,000 naira. So that is outrageous. So that's why I'm saying that, well, our Nigerian government has not been doing well in the area of economy. No doubt about that. But when the international issue now came, and don't forget, since 2020, coronavirus pandemic, most world nations had not recovered fully. Go and check. That's what is actually affecting us. And Nigeria, we don't have any plan, any fallback position. That's why our own is a little bit, serious or aggravated. We don't have any fallback position. As we speak now, some nations are still battling with coronavirus as we speak. So we have not actually totally, recovered from that. Just name it, most world powers are actually struggling to get out of, because for a whole year, the whole world was on its knees. That's true. So it's not easy. So Nigeria, we are still equally, we are just trying to get out of it. Like I said, but if our government had actually put certain foundations in place, maybe it will be better off.
Sure.
Well, I have a last question to ask before we go off the discourse for today. We all know that something is wrong with our constitution. So I would like you to actually state some of the things that are wrong with it and what the federal government can actually do to right some of the wrongs.
Well, in 2010, the National Assembly then tried to amend our constitution 3 times. 3 times. When they saw certain fundamental flaws, they did that 3 times. And the other National Assembly before the one of 2010 and the one before the one after had actually tried to do same thing. But there was no consensus, no addendum, no consensus. They couldn't agree on certain things. That's why in most cases they were unable to have a successful constitutional amendment like in 2010. So which means almost all our National Assembly, the Z7, 8, 9, 10 now, actually saw and there was need to overhaul. And they realized that they cannot actually repeal. What if they repeal? What will they be using to be operating? If they do, that means they too will actually go out of existence.
There will be no law.
There will be no law. So then they are, and that constitution is the grand norm of all constitution. So there will not be anything on ground. So they too, their position is so. There's no National Assembly that do not see that, but there has never been meeting of minds among them. They always have issues, certain things, maybe ethnic issue, religious issue, or mundane issue. So my own, of course, is I want to just encourage Nigerians that we should continue the process in which we are doing now. That with time, if you are able to have people who are ready and prepared to do certain things in a different way, we are going to get there. But that people will not come from heaven and they will not even come from hell. They are going to be our people. And when that time comes, we might not be able to know. But like I said, the process should continue the way it is going. That we must not do anything to encourage military to take over. Whatever our differences, let us resolve it and move on. That with time, some people will rise up and do certain things that have never been done before, that will change the face, that will change the psyche, that will change the mentality of Nigeria and Nigerians. We are going to get there. I have no, because Nigerians are blessed, are gifted. Go to the world over. Nigerians are doing well. Nigerians are number one. In science, Nigeria is number one. In mathematics, Nigeria is number, just name it. In literature, Nigeria is first among equal. So which means this country is endowed. But what remains, of course, is the ability, the zeal to stand up, say, this is what we want. And for our people to see the need to follow that trend. And we are going to get. So that's why I want to say, yes, our constitution has a lot of flaws. A lot of flaws. And in fact, a lot of contradictions. Our constitution is actually contradicting itself. But then, if you look at the American Constitution, it's just a small pamphlet. The pages cannot be more than 50 pages. And I've been using it from time immemorial. The Nigerian Constitution is, in fact, a big textbook, around maybe 200 to 300 pages, and we are still having issue. But American own, just a small pamphlet, and they are not having any issue. What remains, of course, is that other things that are not included in the Constitution, they use conventions, they use precedents to interpret, and they are moving on. But us, we want everything to be in a book. That's why we're having a problem. So I want to say, yes, there are a lot of contradictions. There are a lot of things that are not unattainable than the Constitution. And a lot of things that are put in the Constitution to serve the selfish interests of those who made the Constitution. That's another problem. In the Constitution, if you look at our leaders very well, they will put whatever that will suit them when they are in office in the Constitution. But when they are now out of office, that same instrumentality will now be used again and they will be shouting. And my question is, when you were there as our leader, what did you do to amend that portion you are complaining of? Nothing was done, because then it was in your favor. So selfishness is part of what is actually affecting us.
Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
It has been a wonderful discourse so far. I'm sure you'll agree with me. And we all know that, yes, something is wrong with our constitution, or many things are wrong with our constitution. But, well, like he said, we should try to resolve things with one another. It starts with me and you. And by resolving that, we'll definitely come together to form a strong bond which will yield to something very positive, and that can also promote our country, Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak Africa, and this is we'll call it a wrap on this episode from our station here in Ondo. We'll be handing over to Legal Station right now. I am Angela Daku.
And I remain Ezekiel Ogar.
Bye for now.